Hi, this is Goldborn Amber Dawn. I am breathing heavy. I can hear it in my earbuds that are falling. I'm using my Yeti microphone, so it's a bit sensitive and I'm not used to using it. You'll hear some traffic noise that way. Because right behind the computer is a window. It is Thursday, January 7th, 2016, and it is 11:19 a.m. Dare I say the time? Oh well. I am so nervous about making a vlog. Hello? Come on up. There was somebody at the door. There's a buzzer system. It was a drop off, for my husband, so who was at work. And I was actually awake to get that, so kudos to me. That's really loud. That was just me setting my phone on a book. This will be a learning curve. That phone ring must have been really loud, actually, now that I think about it. I guess it's show and tell day. First of all, I'm wearing... Oh, it's already got dandruff on it. Look at that. My hair's clean, I swear. It's just... This is the 2015 winter shirt for NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. I participated in it for the second year in a row that I actually won. I won last year and then I won this year. It didn't feel as quite wintery-ish as the previous year. I guess because the previous year was my first time. This time I felt like, I guess because I was using, I went with the same ideas last year, but I really had a point to it. I had a point that I would do a few years of the same idea and then combine it together, pick the various days. You know, it has a theme, but it's not the same thing. And I was really hoping that next year would be drastically different, but with what happened at the end of December, I'm not so sure. Actually, the traffic through the earbuds is much more calming to me than it is hearing it normally. Anyway, I still followed through and wrote the 50K, and that's why I have this shirt. It arrived yesterday, and then there was an email from NaNoWriMo to thank the donors with this like really cute dorky video in it, and that was kind of nice. Okay, so this also got here a while back. It was it's supposed to be my present to myself for what I did in December, but I arrived after things ended, so I felt really kind of weird about it, but it's still great. It is from Etsy, so there's a lot of great artists on Etsy selling their wares, and this is a Sylvia Plath quote: "I can never read all the books I want, I can never be all the people I want, and live all the lives I want." Sylvia Plath. It's a depressing thought, but it's true. I say with all these books around me. I have read a lot of them, but obviously there are many that I have not yet read. And there are numerous other books out there in the world that I will never get to read. And there are versions of myself that I wish could have been. Recently, I could say there's a version of me I wish existed that didn't have a problem leaving the house every day, that didn't have such intense anxiety about leaving the house every day, that it would cause, my stomach's grumbling, that it would cause such a, still, I wish that version of me existed right now, because then I would be making more money on top of what I receive, and I would feel good because I was meeting great people there, and I would just one of those things. So there's that version of myself. There's also the version of myself that I'm sure I dreamed about last night. Although it didn't go well, it was a nightmare about. I have nightmares all the time. Just so you know, I do have, like, my anxiety isn't just anxieties. It's there's other things going on with it, including yeah, it's just really bad. Yeah, sorry about my stomach. But the nightmares are common for me, like, to have traumatic nightmares. But this one upset me, probably because it touched on a place that I love, Toronto. And I had lived there for a few years and I loved it. And this is a dream that had me kind of living there or trying to live there again. Probably because we talked about it. Just, we were wondering, husband and I were wondering about if we won. We should not be doing the if we won the lottery thing, but I think everybody does it that doesn't have a lot of money. Thinks about it, or even people with money probably think about it. I don't know. We just were talking about it, and his first thing was to say, you probably go to Toronto because he knows I love it so much, or get a place in Toronto. But I decided, no, I probably, well, at the lottery winnings that we were talking about, the cash for life every week, it wouldn't make sense. It'd be better to get a house where we are, and just as we're planning to, and just to travel. I could travel there lots, and I could go as much as I wanted to there or anywhere, but I probably wouldn't. I'd like a home base. I do feel that this is probably better for me than as much as I'd like to think of it, of, spreading us apart that way. But the nightmare about Toronto wasn't about Toronto, and it wasn't about living there. It was about, I guess it was just feeling out of place. Like, is there a place for me? Like, realizing that things have already changed. Like, I don't know if it's the influence of people who live in this town and their perspective of Toronto, because growing up in a small town or a small city, the idea of Toronto, it's like a great place to go see the game or a concert, but there's way too much traffic, and it's too busy, it's got too much going on, there's too much, blah, blah, blah. But my experience living there was, like, up the street from a lake, streetcar, 24-hour streetcar on Queen Street, a nice neighborhood in the beaches. Or my first experience living down there was living down Queen West by Trinity Bellwoods. Lots of, cool shops, and walking down, getting to go to the Harbourfront, working at the CN Tower. I didn't find it as horrible as people would say it was. In fact, I just found it, well, I would tell you that I found the beaches to be much more small townish and home-like than where I live now. I mean, where I live now, it's kind of spread out suburbia, all these really great big fancy houses going up, but kind of a loss of that community, and certainly no streetcars here, and there once was long, long ago in my hometown, before I was ever, like, 100 years ago or whatever. But, and the traffic here, I think that was one of the things that was really off-putting for me when I first moved back, was I took a walk, it was in winter, and I took a walk to try and meet my husband after work, a very rare thing indeed, and what I found was that the 4 lanes of traffic, I think it was, on the main street, just sort of was overwhelming, and it smelled bad, and it was just all these cars, and so I find it very strange when people will put down a place like Toronto, and I'll be like, you didn't have the same experience. I mean, it's different when you're going in for conventions, or you're taking those certain ways into the city. It's a whole bunch of different neighborhoods, and they're fantastic. But this wasn't supposed to be my pro-Toronto advertisement of the day. find it upsetting when my nightmares want to. I guess what's settling in is that I'm probably never going to move back. And while it might seem like, well, duh, I mean, you moved away and you're back in your hometown and you're married and settled down there, and why would you be moving back to Toronto? But I think a part of me just hoped that that the option was always available, and I guess I'm feeling more now like it just, well, it's always possible that I could go back. It just doesn't make any sense for my health or my well-being. Not because it's a bad place for me, my stomach says, but because, you know, my husband is happier here. His job is good. We are good together and we're supportive of one another, and I can't imagine not sharing that, you know, a lot of time with them, as far as like the moments that we share and the experiences. Unless we were completely done, I couldn't see myself moving back there. Then there's the other aspect. There's health issues that I need to still get taken care of, physical health issues, and I'm more likely to get that care here because of my family doctor than I am if I moved where I don't have a family doctor. There's that. There's also the fact that when recently I had the support that I felt I would need to be able to have a job where I left the house every day. And I went to work every day, but it didn't stop the stomach. Sorry guys, I haven't eaten today. I was gonna drink some coconut water right now from a can. That's probably not good for you. But, I think it's just the fact that it doesn't make any sense to move back. And I'd have to be healthier, and I'd have to just, it wouldn't make sense. We want to buy a house here. It's certainly cheaper. We can get a very nice house for us here. Couldn't even conceive of getting a house in Toronto. But then I think of how I would have loved to have lived in Toronto and not cared about having a house. So, yeah, that's kind of what's nightmares, where nightmares can be bad because of all the other scary elements, stuff that I'm not mentioning, like that obviously happened that would be disturbing, but I guess the thing about having dreams in general and remembering them is when you think about what you might be telling yourself. And what I think I'm telling myself that upset me the most, more than any scary things that might have happened in the dream or frightening aspects of it, would be that the truth is that I'm accepting that I'm not going to move back. But I don't want to embrace the thought that, oh, I'm not moving back because I couldn't possibly live there. I don't want to have that mindset, because it was possible before. Of course it could be possible. Look at that torn apart leather thing. We got that before we got cats with claws. Yeah, I'll just sort of move over to it. Yeah, so I don't want to revert to a mindset where, oh, the big city, it's too big for me, I could never live there, it's too noisy and stuff. No, it's not the reason why I'm not living there. I'm not living there because multiple times I made the choice to stay here with my husband, and I also chose to stay here for my health. I chose to stay here because I am choosing the comfort of the life we can build here, and I'm choosing that for my writing and creative pursuits as well. I have written far more here than I did when I lived in Toronto, and that's an unfortunate thing because in Toronto there's a great creative community, supportive and vibrant, and oh my gosh, I get there and I just feel really alive and inspired by everything. Here, it's not that way for me. I'm not connected to any creative community here. And it's a bit more isolating, although that seems to work for my writing. It's not a paradox, but I do think that what has to be done is what we've already talked about, which is, we take care of things here, we pay our bills, we save for the house, etc., etc., and we have our settled down home base, and then I just go on some trips now and then. I mean, he's done it, I could do it, I have done it, but it's not the same as being a resident there. I loved living there. I would never have left if circumstances hadn't been what they were. I would have stayed there happily. But if I'd done that, we probably would never have traveled like we have. I've been to Italy, I've been to Scotland and Ireland, and, well, I've been to like 5 countries now, but that's only because of when you're flying, you stop in various countries for jumping airport, but, that's pretty cool. So I need to just, and I've got this library around me, which looks like a freaking mess on camera, and in real life probably, but when it's on camera you especially notice just how messy it all is. Jazz hands. I'm procrastinating doing the dishes. I actually enjoy doing the dishes because I like them being clean, and there's something mindful about it. Is that mindfulness as a catchphrase, or is that going out of style already? So I will go do the dishes. I've been thinking a lot about walking. I loved walking to work, and I want to be able to walk regularly again, but I'm trying to trick my brain into not freaking out about leaving the house. One of the great things about walking in the past, I mean, for me even, but in general, in history for writers and whatnot, was that you just walked and wandered about without any sometimes you had a destination, but you just let yourself walk without a time restraint, or without I must go to the store and get this. You did walking for pleasure and exercise, and sometimes to be with other people, to go for a walk with them and enjoy their company, or you did it for yourself and to be alone with your thoughts. And I would like to do that. I would like to make that a practice, because I know it would help my writing. I know it would give me some things to photograph, instead of always balcony pictures and pictures of my cats. Not that there's anything wrong with cat pictures, but and I definitely need it for my health, big time for my health. I'm not making this a New Year's resolution, but I'm trying to really think of how do I do this without freaking myself out. Excuse me. about my tummy. It's my tummy still. So I've got a walking stick that I've had for like a year now. And I think that would be helpful because I never know if, you know, I could use that with the back issue. And just maybe it'll make me feel more purposeful. And I have mapped my walk on my phone, which is fantastic. I love that for like, I think it's like validation. I really thrive on validation, apparently. So, it's good to see how far you've walked, and, you know, it's just a good way to keep track. And, I think what I could do, instead of putting myself through a lot of pressure about it, I could just make the decision that if I set goals on it, I might just be overwhelmed at the thought of, oh, 3 times a week, what do I do? And yet I know 5 miles a day minimum would be excellent for me. Like, I'm aware of what I need, probably more than 5 miles a day if I would like to start losing weight. But 5 miles a day would be fantastic. That's a lot. But with see, it's the anxiety. I feel it right here in my chest just talking about it. And it shouldn't be. I wish it wasn't that way, because this is something I want to do, something I'd enjoy doing. I probably should have had like a slice of husband's homemade banana bread before making a video and letting you guys hear how hungry my tummy is. You know what? There are dishes in the sink that must be washed. So I'll get to that. And I think I'll try to do videos, introduce myself again, because I need an outlet. And I know that you guys are out there. Somebody's out there. So I will talk about, I hope I don't break this like on camera or at all. I had a terrible time with my jewelry last year. I kept breaking whatever I put on, and not because I was doing stupid crap like this. I mean, just in general, unlatching my jewelry, and it would just like fall into various parts onto the floor, and snapping hooks and whatnot, just breaking things. But made me feel bad. Oh, I know the one that was especially made me feel sad was a necklace I got in Venice, Italy. And that made me sad. I was like, it's not like I can just get that. I mean, I'm sure they can, the jewelry is imported into various shops, but I mean, I actually bought it in Italy, and I know I try to take good care of things. I say as I've obviously just messed around with that in not a very caring way. But I mean, I just had it was like a week of it happening where I was just, good thing I didn't handle some of particular pieces of my jewelry. I'm not like a jewelry person. I'm just saying I don't have that much, and I'm not like a girly girl yet. And again, I say, so it could happen overnight. I'll suddenly know how to do my hair. This is called washing, and that's it. Obviously, I mean, and this is called going gray and white again, and this is called flaking dandruff onto myself. So this was my first video of me trying to vlog again. I'm not sure that I'll keep the effort. I'll try this again later.